everybody, and welcome to WeRL Season 4, Round 7 in Canada tonight. For the Canadian Grand Prix, we are joined tonight by Stud Body. I'll let you take over as I sort something out quickly.
Yeah, well, hello, Brian. And as you said, we're here at Canada in a very wet qualifying. I've just loaded in and have seen it is incredibly wet. It looks to be intermediate conditions here in Montreal, so it's going to be intriguing to see how our 11 drivers take it in qualifying. It'll be interesting to see, are we going to come across wet conditions in the race? It's something you see quite often in Canada in real life, or is it going to be a dry race? And it'll be interesting to see what kind of setups our drivers pick today.
Certainly, and it'll be interesting to see what it does give to the races. That could be a very big determinant of what they take for, as what they take for setup-wise today. But 11 drivers tonight, we may have a 12th join, and it'll be an interesting one. Interesting enough, we will only have 10 of these qualifying, as the McLaren of Angry does have a qualifying ban again, so 10 drivers to qualify, 1 to start from the back. What do you think this qualifying is? And not just that, but this is the second week in a row we've had a wet qualifying session. Obviously you weren't here last week, but China last week, wet qualifying, S22 somewhat shone in the wet, but obviously you have Entok, who always does well in the wet. No Chenky here tonight, chasing down the championship, still second in the drivers. What could this bring tonight?
Yeah, well, I think it's gonna bring an element of caution, and they're gonna throw caution into the wind, as the saying says. It's really important here at Canada just to get a lap in. Yeah, quite often it's quite a difficult circuit at points to keep a lap valid, especially in that first sector, and much more so in wet conditions. So I think for the first sort of 5-10 minutes of the session, as MUFC Joe picks up a 5-place grid penalty for a collision with Orion, which is interesting. But yeah, as I was saying, I think we're just going to see some caution, and then in the final 5 minutes of the session, that is when you'll see the gloves come off and the real times we put in.
Certainly, yeah, an interesting one there, Joe's collision with Orion. I'm not sure what that could be. Perhaps just coming out near each other on track, trying to give each other track position, who knows. But Scarlett about to start his first lap, or the first lap of qualifying, and his first lap in WeRL in the Williams tonight. He's crossing the line and down now into turn 1. And this first lap now will be, you feel a bit of an interesting one to just see what the track conditions are like for drivers.
Yeah, definitely it's going to be interesting as MUFC Joe starts first lap of the session. Of course, he just picked up that 5-place grid penalty, but now as you see him making his way through the first sector down to 3rd gear, just not taking too many risks, like tap of the wall in the first sector as he now comes towards start of the first sector at 23.528. He's not really been pushing his ERS either, so he's going to have plenty to burn down the straight to compensate for the lack of DRS.
Yeah, definitely, and just riding on board with Skull on stream here. It looks to be struggling with the grip, so, I mean, as we said, grip not going to be all there at the start of this session. Just take it easy for the first part of the session as he goes deep at the hairpin, so that looks like it'll be his lap over. So Joe now moving ahead of him, managing the grip better, but I mean, it's gonna be an interesting qualifying session, to say the least. Really not sure where this is gonna go at all, but
yeah, we will find out. We will find out. Sorry to get you off there, Brian. I was gonna say that was Scala just bailing out of his time. I think he decided that was that and wasn't going to be a particularly good lap, so he bailed out. As it's actually saying all of a sudden he's on his out lap. It was telling me that he was on a push lap, and now it's saying he's on an out lap, which is very weird. he's just absolutely flown over the curb, invalidated, and that's probably a this and next lap invalidation, which it is. So Scala will not get a lap in for at least another time round.
Yeah, and that's I noticed that as well down around the hairpin area, so God knows what this game is on, but I did notice at the end of the laps, Gabriel and Rob both, oh sorry, not Gabriel, Ryan and Rob both invalidated their first push laps of the session, so they both came, well, Rob came in and Ryan's going for another one. Sniper now through the final chicane, can he get anywhere near Joe's time? It's down to the line. Still, well, he's 4/10 off, so he's not too far off, unlike Gabriel who's 1.9 off, but Rob certainly finding his, oh sorry not Rob, Joe certainly finding his footing at the start of this qualifying session.
Yeah, definitely. Apologies there. There's no, I'm just quickly riding on board with the two Aston Martins. Gabriel now comes across the line once again. It's going to be a 21.6, and then his teammate Ryan will be next across the line as a 21.8. So these two running third and fourth at the moment. The two slowest of those that have set times, as Sniper Maker goes 4/10 faster than Gabriel up to third place. And then we have Scala now coming up to the line, 27.430, but of course that was an invalid lap. And this will be the real representative time for the Williams.
Yes, in all of that case, Matty 21.002 up into second. Still a couple of tenths off Joe, but we have the, well, bit of a Ray Massenel Entok, although he's invalidated, so we'll go on board with Scholar, as I missed what that first sector was, but it looks like everyone's just slightly struggling to find their footing in this session, as Joe's actually 4/10 up through the first two sectors.
Yeah, Joe doing some pretty good first couple of sectors. The track clearly improving, confidence improving as we go deeper into this session. As now up to the line comes the Mercedes. It's a 20.236, pretty much a 6/10 improvement. The only driver at the moment in the 1-minute 20s. And the question is, can anybody match that pace? Maybe the Williams of Scala can, as he now comes around the final two corners towards the Wall of Champions, being a little careful through there, as now towards the line goes the Williams, and it is a 22.688. So not anywhere near at the moment the time of Joe, which still holds very firm at the top.
Yeah, and again, during all that case, Matty 20.389, only a tenth and a half off Joe, so starting to do what he did last week and put the pressure on in the wet. But now we have the Ferrari coming into the final two corners, and now down to the line. We'll see what the Ferrari can do. So 21.7 up, it's separating the two Aston Martins.
Yeah, fifth place for the Ferrari there. Still some time in it. Maybe traction control holding him back a little bit there. I mean, traction control is definitely one of the biggest factors in deciding your pace in the wet. Here on F125, it's a much bigger difference than it was on F124. As by the way, S22 is setting some pretty impressive sectors, as now towards the middle end of the middle sector, 48.755 purple to the second sector. Round the hairpin he goes, and now needs good traction on the exit, which he gets relatively decent traction, and now has a lot of ERS to burn all the way down this straight.
Yeah, that's happening. I'm trying to find. We're going to have a 12th driver. I just can't find them online.
Who is it? Is it someone I have added?
Cooler. I don't know if you have Cooler added.
S22 puts in a 19.987, 3/10 faster than Joe, and the first driver into the 1-minute 19s here today.
As impressive as someone else is getting Cooler in, which is
Good.
I hate it when people don't show online, but Rob now. As I don't think Rob's going to be next to the line. No, he might be. I don't know. During all that, Gabriel set a time to go up into 4th, but impressive from S22, and he did the same last week in the wet as well. Who else is there? Go on board with Rob, why not? As Rob coming down into the Wall of Champions now. Certainly corners which can catch a lot of drivers out, as case of Matty has gone fast. This is 17.7.
Yeah, good time, really good time there from the Haas as Rob puts it into 4th place on a 20.5, and all of a sudden it has stopped raining during the time we've been talking. It has stopped completely raining, and from here the track is just going to keep improving. Now it's not time for drives yet. It may look like it's time, but that is a visual glitch which they somehow didn't fix. From F1 24 to 25, and this game never fails to surprise me, but not in a good way in that sense, as now drivers are coming out to do more laps. They're going to be starting to put in faster and faster times. As I was just watching Orion, had a big snap of oversteer, got a wheel on the grass, that knee sent him round. HJMB puts in a 20.670, up to 6th place he goes. As we'll see, is anyone else going to put in faster laps here?
Yeah, as we've just seen Joe pulling into the pits, we have the Aston Martin range 7/10 down after that moment. It'll be interesting if anyone thinks it's worth an attempt to go to the softs. S22 in the pits has the softs on.
As does Gabrielle. I don't think it's ready for soft tyres yet. The signal is when DRS gets enabled. That is the signal to put the soft tyres on.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is Rob is going for another one, has it? Well, he was on an invalid lap. I think this one's invalid as well, but
it is.
Well, look, Scala going for another lap on the intermediate. We'll get a feeling, depending on what his first sector or first couple of sectors are on these intermediates. So, I mean, I definitely don't think it's time for intermediates. Seen it last week where it stopped raining in the race and a lot of people went early for the slick tyres. Chenky held out and ended up working out in his favour. Cooler, I can't find you online. And I'm going through my friends list on stream to show that I can... Oh, never mind. You were online. You weren't before. My bad.
Were you being a bit of a silly goose in nice terms?
2.1 up for Scarlet in the first 2 sectors. What can this final sector be for the Swiss driver? First Swiss driver since season 1. Don't know why I have that stat in my head.
Who was our previous Swiss driver?
Nathan.
Nathan, yeah. That's a name I ain't heard in a long time. Cool. Is now up to the line. Comes Scala. Up to the line, it's a 19.974, 2/10 off KZ's best, and barely faster than his Williams teammate of S22. As our HGMB, by the way, is up by 1.1 seconds as Entok puts in at 18.486. The track is improving, Entok going way faster, but what about with the Ferrari of HJMB? Round the final corner he goes. That looked a little bit faster than previous times round. Using his last little bit of battery, up to line he goes. It's a 19.0416 off of the Sauber's best, and a little way away from pole.
Yeah, track is definitely ramping up though now, and certainly think that the intermediates are still the tyres, with everyone on the intermediates still finding time. So, getting another driver in now, so we will have 13 in race.
Okay. We're going to go to Sniper Maker, who was 1.2 seconds up in the first sector, DRS enabled. That is the signal to put on the soft compound tyres. Personally, I would be leaving, going out on track as late as I could. You know, you want the best, physical best of the conditions. Ideally, you cross the line at 1 second, 1 second left to get the best of the track available to you. But some people going out early, maybe going for 2 runs in this session, going for a push strategy potentially.
Yeah, that is a possible strategy. Yeah. Sorry, I forgot where I was going with that in my head. Sniper Maker up to the line now. He's improving, and it's 17-1.
Yeah, track is getting stronger and stronger. Every turn as S22 is now on the soft tyres for the first lap of the dry tyres in this session. There's now up to the first sector split. He's a second up on the softs already, and through there they look like they're sticking to the ground pretty nicely, so they might. The track is ready for the soft tyres in this session. There's now DRS deploying down this straight, right, left, keeping it nice and clean. As now to the middle sector split he goes. What's it going to be? It's 2.3 seconds up for S22. The track is definitely improving significantly, and currently he is on target to rival that time from Sniper Maker and potentially go even faster than it. He will have time to do another cool lap, after this one, and then go for one last push with S22 if he keeps this one valid, which he does. As up to the line he goes. It is going to be a 16.019, very nearly into the 1 minute 15s there.
Very nearly, yes. And well, now that the track is ramping up, do we want to take a guess of what the pole position could possibly be?
I'm going to say 14.6. Maybe slightly. I'm going to say 14.2, sorry. It's going to be my, yes, 14.2.
I'm going to say 13.9.
Okay, we will see.
As Scarlet invalidating through the first couple of corners, so he should have time to get around and go for another one if he's got the fuel.
Yeah, should do. Should have enough. I mean, Canada, the perk of Canada is even with 5 kilograms, you will have enough to do basically to do outlap, a push lap. If you invalidate your push lap, you'll have enough to do another push lap as well, because it is a short circuit. As Orion, by the way, just for information, 2.3 seconds up on his previous best as Sniper Maker retires from the session. I personally don't really understand that reasoning for retiring, because he is going to get absolutely swamped in the final part of this session.
Yeah, as who am I looking at now? I'm confused. Ryan, you said, wasn't it?
Yes,
So,
I'm on board
Orion,
with 22 at the moment.
5 seconds up Orion in the first 2 sectors, and he's got a little bit of a tow from his teammate as well. As
Track is ramping up way faster than expected. I think a pole could be in the 1 minute 12s here, as they are 13.6. Our pole position prediction blown completely out of the water. I think we could be into the 1 minute 12s, potentially even 1 minute 11s here with the right driver. As Bob, the one to watch at the moment is S22. His time is 2.4 seconds up.
yes, certainly very much ramped up faster than both of us as expected, but S22 DRS open now down to the line. It's a 1:12.9 for the Williams.
Yeah, provisional pole there. HJMB has invalidated it, so he is not going to be going faster. KZ Matty 5 seconds up in the first 2 sectors, and still nearly 6 seconds, and still got 2 corners left to go to gain even more time. As round he goes, that looks pretty clean. Up to the line comes the Haas. Is it pole? Yes, it is. The 1:12.467. Can anyone match that? Scarlet up to the line, 14.5. 4th fastest there, and I believe it's just Gabrielle we are waiting for as he now comes to the line. It's going to be a 1:12.507, barely misses out on pole, 400 to a second away from it, and that is the end of qualifying.
Yeah, and what was interesting in all of that is Joe did set a 1 minute 11 that was invalidated on the final corner.
Now that is unfortunate.
Definitely so. KZ Matty on pole, Gabriel second, S22 in third, Orion in fourth, good for the Aston Martin, Scholar in fifth, also good for the Williams team, Sniper Maker in sixth, Entok in seventh, HMB in eighth, Joe in ninth, Rob in 10th, Angry Inc in 11th, Volt in 12th, and Cooler should be at the back of that grid as well.
Yeah, unfortunate. That grid penalty, very unfortunate for those two. Definitely going to give them some work to do in the race. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting race for sure as we now head to the grid. Strategy here, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. It's going to be medium hard or hard medium. The one stop is pretty easy to do here, isn't it?
Yeah, I actually personally haven't seen any races I can remember on this game as of yet, so it's
We
going to be...
did one here a couple of seasons ago.
I
It
wasn't there for
was
that race.
season... Yes, you were.
No, I wasn't.
No, that was on F124. No, you did one here on F125 because it was the race for the win was between me, Stephen, and oh my god,
Oh
my
god,
god,
yeah,
what
I did it with
was
Kyle.
Stephen's name? Season 3 champion.
Rico.
Rico, that's it. Yes.
Yeah, crap. I forgot
Because
me and
Stephen
Kyle
crashed
did
out.
that. I think it was me and Kyle did that race together.
It was, yeah, and
Okay.
I was sat in the back of the party listening.
Yeah, good point. Oh my god, I'm just sending someone a snap and my forehead's bleeding.
Lovely.
The stream did not need to hear that. As someone has said, you think I agree and go calm the pack? Perhaps. It's going to be an interesting race, to say the least. I've just seen your message, but we're about to get racing. But yeah, it'll be an interesting one strategy-wise here, certainly. But we are about to go racing here in China, not China, Canada, as the lights are. No way we're going. It's a good start for KZ. That's a very good start for Entok further back, almost jumping 2 places already. Cooler has been put in the McLaren as they're all off to a good start in this race. No incidents through turn 1, everyone through turn 1. Nice and clean. Entok dropping down to 13th in all of that though. No visible damage though. As Scholar's dropped down to 7th, unfortunate for him, but KZ still leads Gabriel second, S22 third after the first sector.
Yeah, relatively clean towards the back as Hi Hello Ye gets himself past Cooler, who also in turn gets overtaken by Entok down the DRS straight, which of course we don't yet have DRS active, but Entok has got a really good run in this pack and is going to hopefully get alongside Yi. As there's big contact. That looks like the Red Bull just cut that line off a little bit where Entok was trying to go, and it resulted in that collision, and that was very, very dicey for a moment. As, by the way, Sniper Maker alongside Orion for 4th place down the inside. He goes, you don't really want to fight into this chicane, and it almost ends in tragedy. Sniper Maker just about manages to keep it on track, maybe picked up a warning through there, as now towards turn 1 there's contact again. The Red Bull gets all out of whack, hits Orion, who ghosts, and now the Ferrari of HDMB is going to go through because of that. Cooler picks up a 3-second penalty. It's all kicking off, and behind, the Williams of Scarlett is alongside Rob. Down the inside he goes at turn 4. As oh my god, we have a virtual safety car because Yi has crashed, and it all kicked off there, didn't it, Brian?
It certainly did, and not just a virtual safety car, but the rain has come on lap 2 of this race. So, I'm not sure what happened with either. I'm not sure where the contact came. I seen the car just going into the wall further back. It didn't look like it hit the wall that hard, but the front tyre coming off. It'll be interesting after the race to see what actually happened there. He was missing a bit of a front wing as someone's end plate comes flying off there as well. The soft runners, none of them really, I mean, Sniper make up into 4th from 6th. So the two soft runners on track both making positions of the start, and it's just wondering if with the rain coming in they decided softs were the tyre to make, as up to 5th for HMB now as Orion is into the pits.
Yeah, Orion is serving a drive-through. You got a drive-through for speeding under VSC, so he is going to serve that now. But I was gonna say maybe it's worth someone going in for dry tyres now. If that VSC stayed out, of course, it didn't stay out for long enough to take advantage of it, so nobody did pit in the end other than Orion, who is serving his driver, and he now comes out in stone dead last. But at the front, KZ is starting to break away from Gabriel, who's under pressure from S22.
Yeah, and I haven't got anything penalty-wise popping up on my screen, so I'm just going to have to take your word for it throughout this race. But KZ,
Can you not click penalties on your graphic menu?
I can click penalties, it's just not popping up on my screen, that's what I mean. That's why I didn't know how to drive through.
Okay.
It's not the first time I've had it on this game.
Fair enough. Stupid game, honestly.
We're not going to go into them rants just yet in the race. But yeah, Gabriel starting to lose out to KZ Matty. S22 is going to go down the inside towards the Wall of Champions as Gabriel is in.
Gabriel clearly deciding it's time for intermediates. Not sure I agree on that front just yet. I think it'll be a couple of laps before it's time for inters. I don't think there's any puddles forming just yet, but Gabriel into pits for inters. Angry Ink clearly agrees with his philosophy that it's time to put on the inters, as he does the exact same thing. Not sure how it's going to fare, but it's going to be interesting to see the pace difference between Gabriel and Orion, because both of those are, of course, teammates, and we now have a direct comparison on the timing graphic of what's going on.
Certainly, and it's, I mean, this game, Zandvoort the other week, which you and me both raced over an APC, was a perfect example, where the rain was coming down. It didn't look too bad at first, and then out of nowhere, it just got horrendous pretty quickly. So, if that was to happen in the next sort of, say, down this back straight, or of course that's unlikely, but if it was to happen over this next lap or so, you could say that Gabriel and Green have made the right decision. So, it'll be an interesting one to see, as Joe and Sniper Maker going. Well, they were wheel to wheel temporarily, and it's quite the gap now between second and third.
Yeah, as going back to what you were saying about the Zandvoort race that we both raced, strategic masterclass from me, by the way, but we're not going to go into that. What I was going to say is it's a slightly different scenario here, because the inters, as Orion picks up a 10-second speeding in the pit lane, going from bad to worse for him. The inters here are not good. The inters at Canada are terrible. And that is because they just overheat for some reason. Unless it is like egregiously wet. As, oh my god, big contact between S22 and Gabriel. I don't know if you caught that on stream, but it just looked like S22 just drove into the back of him. And S22 now has end plate damage on the left-hand side of his car, and it put Gabriel in the wall as well, who also has end plate damage. What on earth?
Yeah, and S22 is more than just end plate, as he is missing part of that front wing as well. So, I mean, I missed that as I was sort of going through who was in the pits there, but the top 5 haven't pitted yet. Track is starting to get a bit more wet. This KZ is in. Did you expect them all to come in now?
Yeah, it's time for inters now. It's time for inters 100%. I think once the puddles start falling as they are, you can see the puddles on the track. I think that's your signal. You know, you need to come in. Maybe you've potentially left it too late. As Scarlett also picks up a 10-second penalty in the pit lane for speeding, catching 2 drivers out here today. Does the pit lane. That is something quite a lot of people fall foul to, and the latest is Scarlett in that black Williams as KZ resumes the lead. Even after a potential undercut from Gabriel, he still comes out 3.2 seconds in the lead.
Yeah, and I mean, the gap was only sort of a second and a half, but now doubled. So the undercut from Gabriel, interesting choice. You know, he risked it. It hasn't quite worked out for him, but as you were saying, pit lane here, a pit lane which I have fell victim to many a time in races. It's just a bit of an awkward one. I don't like it. I want it to be less awkward. But Sniper now putting pressure on S22. They're going to go wheel to wheel down towards the hairpin. Sniper in fact backs out of anything there as Joe just started to try and pull away from them and catch up to Gabriel ahead.
Yeah, DRS has just been disabled, so that is your signal that if you're still out on dry tyres, which is, at the moment, of course, nobody is, then you've left it far too late, as KZ now will come across the line to start lap 7 of 35. And I mean, it's going to be a race of attrition because we haven't really got many on-track battles. The only one at the moment being Entok versus HJMB, as Entok has huge overspeed on the Ferrari and just drives straight past him like he wasn't even there. That looked like something you see in F1 2026 racing, not F1 2025 racing. But as I was saying, it's going to be a battle of attrition because you're going to have to stay focused here 100%. You know, just plug away at those laps, keep it on track, don't pick up silly warnings, and well, you should, if you do all that, get a good result.
Yeah, definitely, as HMB and the Ferrari is going to try and fight it back now with Entok. They're going to temporarily go wheel to wheel, then tucks in behind the Sauber once again. As going to make a lunge down into the right-hander here, and is back up ahead. So these two just look to be swapping positions with one another a bit now, as we are into the part of the race where it is going to be a battle of attrition. I mean, as you said, keeping away from silly penalties. Canada, at least for me personally, has always been one which track limits are a pain.
Yeah, luckily the connoisseur of track limit penalties, known as Regan, is not here today, so there'll be no DSQs or like 24-second penalties. As I say, that HJMB picks up a 3-second penalty, taking him to 3 seconds of penalties so far today. The only person with more than one pen at the moment is Cooler Deadpool. Of course, there are people with 10-second pens, but that is from what's the word? Pit lane. Speeding in the pit lane. As what have you seen?
Sorry, Joe and S22 going wheel to wheel. Joe tucking in behind. He just had a massive shunt into the wall, taking his end plate on the right hand side off, and that was an awkward angle which could have ended in more than just an end plate missing there.
Yeah, definitely could have been worse for those two, but they just about make it through, not unscathed, but what's the word I'm looking for?
Unhindered?
Unhindered, yes, I suppose. They've not lost huge amounts of time, but with the damage that both of them do have, they probably will lose a pretty significant amount of time across this race, as they have Sniper Maker in the red white ball behind them, starting to catch at a rate of knots. Of course, he does have a 3-second penalty, so as I say that, he picks up another 3-second penalty. So commentator's curse at its finest there. As Scala now going side by side with Orion and getting himself past. I think he's going to complete the move through here. There's a little bit of contact. Orion removes part of his end plate once again, and that is going to open the opportunity for Rob to go for his Angry Ink. Hits the wall of champion in the background, and that is going to be a safety car. We are under safety car conditions, ladies and gentlemen, and I think we're probably going to see everyone in. I think it's worth coming in. You know, they've only been on these tyres 3-4 laps, but you know, it's an extra 3-4 laps of wear that you don't have to deal with towards the end.
Definitely, and certainly for the likes of S22, Joe, there was someone else, Scala missing an plate, Orion missing an plate. Those who have front wing damage certainly will be worth coming in under the safety car and getting a new front wing on. Yes, you may lose positions in the, I mean, even for, who is it with the 10 seconds, Scala and Orion with the 10 seconds, to serve them 10 seconds in this pit stop under safety car, it is definitely worth it, because, I mean, this might be the only chance in the race under a safety car where you can catch back up to everyone that you get the chance to serve them penalties. So, it'll be interesting as KZ is in the pits as we talk about it, and you'd expect Gabriel to be in on the older tyres. No, Gabriel is going to take track position, and S22 is going to follow him.
Yeah, people are now starting to come in. I said we probably get some drivers in. You know, for those towards the top, it's definitely worth it, because although you're sacrificing track position, you are now giving yourself much better tyres. I mean, 4 or 5 laps of racing is a lifetime, really, on tyres. It's probably going to be an extra 10-12% of wear, which could really be the difference between making it to the end and not making it to the end of this race.
Certainly, as Scarlett and Ryan both in, serving them 10 seconds, as I said they most likely would, but what was that? 1, 2, 3. Only 4 drivers coming in of the 11 we have left in this race. And Orion hasn't fixed that front wing either.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say I'm too surprised. It's, for some people, a lot of people would think, oh, we've only just pitted, it's not really worth it. But I think those that are considering going to the end of this race on a single set of inters, it becomes slightly more worth it. I mean, KZ dropped 3 positions, but he now has much newer tyres, so can probably make that time up relatively easily.
Entox just lost the front wing, or part of it. Aye.
Oh no.
As I switched to it, they've been going up behind the safety car into the hairpin. Entox hasn't stopped the car in time, and he's gone straight into the back of KZ. Lucky in a way to not be penalised for making contact on the safety car there.
Yeah, potentially lucky, as he does now come into the pits to get that damage fixed. I mean, it's not really a surprise, and because we're in the safety car, he loses less than he would usually. I mean, there is a pot my god, I can't talk today. There is a chance, and a pretty high chance, that he is going to come out ahead of the 2 behind him, as HJMB picks up a 10-second penalty for a severe collision with KZ. What on earth, as neither of them have damage, so I have absolutely no idea what has happened there. I don't know if you saw it, Brian, but I didn't, as KZ does have end plate damage.
I did not see it, as I was seeing seeing if Entok was changing the front wing there, but I mean, considering Entok's one got end plate damage, HMB's one didn't. In my opinion, that's not as much force into it. I don't know. It could be one, perhaps, that gets looked at after the race for possible removal. Obviously, if it's served in the pits, it can't be. But certainly the possibility after this race that'll be looked at, depending on what actually happened, and it'll be interesting to see what did happen there.
Yeah, well, lucky us. That gives us stewards some things to think about come at the end of this race. Yippee! As I think there is a chance that we're going to get a 3rd lap on the safety car here. And by the way, I mean, looking at the conditions, it's all of a sudden got incredibly wet. Similar to how it did in Zandvoort. I mean, I don't think it's time for full wets, as HJMB picks up another 10 for ignoring yellow flags. And is it going to be a retirement? Yes, it is. I'm not too sure I agree with that. I mean, we're only 12 laps in. You only had a 10-second. You could have served it that lap until he decided to rage retire it. And I mean, if Kyle was here, he would be saying far worse than I am.
Oh god, I can just hear Kyle's voice in the back of my head right now going on about that.
Yeah, I can hear one of my biggest pet peeves in road racing is when people retire it before the end of the race. I mean, you're under safety car, for God's sake. I can literally hear him saying it word for word. If you're watching, Kyle, no offense, but I think every single time someone does it, you mention it.
I think next season, for the punishment for someone who does that in a race, is they have to listen to an audio of Kyle going on about it.
They should be subjected to watching 12 hours of Arsenal Football Club.
Ooh,
because that is just boring. It's so boring. So, since we're on the safety car, we can go on a quick side rant before the safety car comes in.
Southampton are leading?
What, sorry?
Southampton are leading?
Are they?
1-0, 35th minute, Ross
Oh
Stewart.
my god, they are. Yeah, I watched the first 20 minutes and then turned it off because Arsenal had gone full jihad mode on the football game. But apologies if anyone was offended by that. I realised what I said after I said it. Yeah, Southampton leading, and Arteta is a menace to football as we get back racing here.
Gabriel hasn't gone just yet. He goes now. That he sort of tried backing everyone up. He didn't really catch anyone off guard though. Interestingly enough, neither him nor S22 pitted to repair the front wings under that safety car, and it was out for what, 3-4 laps or something. So interesting, but it's their choice. Perhaps they think the car drives better with part of the front wing missing. You never know. Scala up past Rob into 8th position on debut. Also didn't repair a front wing. Rob also losing out to Orion there, so Orion and Scala now going wheel to wheel. Rob just sitting in behind, trying to get involved as well if he can. As Orion up past Scala, but Scala is going to try and attack back around the outside into the right-hander. There's a bit of contact between them. As Rob just sitting in behind and having to watch on as this continues. But further up ahead, Gabriel, 8/10 now in the lead to S22. As Sniper is in third, KZ Mati just hold on in fourth, but he's looking to now try and make an attack down this back straight.
Yeah, here we go. Only half a tenth back, moves himself past pretty comfortably. I think Sniper Maker decided to give that one up, as now Entok also gets past Joe up to 6th place, so moves being made on the first lap after the restart as we now enter lap 13, or sorry, lap 14 of 35.
Yeah, and already the top 7 have separated themselves from us. Scala off track there, rejoining and dropping down to 10th. Perhaps lost under braking, not too sure there, but I was in the process of saying that the top 7 starting to pull away from the back 3 now, but Orion trying to just stick with Joe if he can.
Yeah, he's doing it relatively okay at the moment, but I mean 9/10 in the rain is nowhere near close enough to go for an attack as he actually drops out of that second rain, so it's not going too well. As actually it has stopped raining, by the way, as now down the inside goes S22 on Gabriel for the race lead. It's been coming for a couple of laps with that damage to the Gabriel's car. S22 also struggling with damage, but moves himself past, as now can at the Aston Martin go for an attack down here. I don't think he's quite going to be close enough. So as we enter lap 15, excuse me, it is going to be S22 who leads the race.
Yeah, it's Gabriel sort of in two minds there, as KZ Mati had a little look to the inside and then decided against it. But Gabriel now having to decide whether he wants to either attack or defend, so interesting position for him as Scala is into the pits, and still not a new front wing going on to the Williams, so not taking the time as he's in for the medium, so he's going early, and this is what we've seen a few people doing last week, so it'll be interesting if this causes anyone to react to this pit stop.
I think it's a couple of laps too early. I think you've got to wait till the end of lap 17 to go into the pits for it. I don't think he's going to be gaining any time. We'll keep an eye on him. But in the early stages, he is losing big time. And that is exactly what I expected. He has fallen foul to that visual glitch and has already lost a second to the cars ahead of him, if not more, as now Joe goes down the inside out the hairpin on Cooler, gets it done cleanly, but now can Cooler get the exit he needs, goes onto the grass a little bit, but has plenty of ERS to burn far more than Joe has available to him, but he is not going to use it. He's going to sit behind the Mercedes for now and wait as S22 actually comes into pits, as does KZ, as does Gabriel. I think it's too early. I think if you stay out on inters, you gain a little bit more for the next couple of laps.
But I agree, and especially after last week when Chenky stayed out so 5 laps longer than most of the other people did and ended up winning the race relatively comfortably. I would say at this point in time, Sniper Maker, or well, sorry, Joe, when penalties are included, is in the best position in this race to take the win.
Yeah, definitely. It is. I mean, he's in a good position, but of course he has. They do have to try and not lose so much time to the likes of KZ and those who have already pitted. But I mean, looking at the timing graph, they're still gaining. They're still gaining a decent amount of time on those cars. But I mean, the gap is sort of stabilizing. So maybe now is your time to come in as DRS is enabled. So that means it is time to come in to the pits for dry tyres.
Yeah, and I'll let you continue commentating for a moment's time as I'll be back in a minute.
Okay, as now Entok makes a move for the race lead. As now, here we go into the pits. Comes Entok, comes Sniper Maker, comes Joe, who hits the back of Sniper Maker. What on earth was he doing? And he gets a 10-second for his troubles. For hitting the back of the Red Bull. And now we see Entok onto hard tyres, Sniper Maker onto hards, Joe onto hards, Rob onto hards, everybody going onto those hard tyres. Gabriel picking up a 3-second penalty as now KZ comes back out in the race lead, but Entok actually has jumped S22. So they did gain time. They gained a good amount of time by staying out, and Entok now moves himself up to P2, and S22 has been jumped in the process of warming up those medium tyres. I mean, you wouldn't expect it. He was on the medium tyres. He was on the better compound than KZ for the wet to dry conditions, and he still lost a pretty significant portion of time as Entok has a really poor exit there. Now here comes S22 making the move. Oh, sorry, Sniper Maker had a really poor exit. S22 moves himself past and now sets his sights on Entok in 3rd place. As now S22 will look to strike on Entok as well in the coming laps. I mean, he is on mediums. They probably will go to the end, but he is going to have to nurse them a little bit in the first few laps of the stint. As now, there we go, past Entok. He goes pretty clean. He's going to have a double dose of DRS. Maybe picked up a warning for his troubles in the final corner. But now, towards the line, we enter that 18 of 35. Pretty much half race distance done. And now S22 on a charge on those medium tyres. But those tyres will begin to go off towards the end of this race.
Yes. Yeah, you're not wrong, as they will start to go off near the end of this race, as it's a good chance for him to sort of close that gap down to KZ and put KZ under pressure. If he makes a mistake and get a penalty, S22 is right there, but it's a good points haul for the Haas team if the race finishes now, as 25 for KZ, obviously cooler being put in the McLaren, but is the Haas driver. 35 points for them today, plus pole position, I think. Am I right? I can't remember who got pole now.
Pole was... hang on, let's
oh no, it was
confirm this.
KZ. It was KZ.
It was KZ, yeah. Yeah, it was. Okay, so he currently will be taking a Grand Slam. Pole win fastest lap here at the moment.
Joe has fastest.
Okay, my bad. But he is he's on for a dominant win, at least, let's say.
Definitely, as S22 is closing the gap, but he's dragging the likes of Entok and Sniper Maker along with him here, as 3 drivers without penalties so far. Scarlet down in 10th, yet to get a penalty, however, so he's in a good position to get at least Orion, and if they can start catching up to the likes of Rob and Gabriel ahead, you get a couple more positions from that, but it's not been the greatest of races. So on P5 dropping down to P10 He's on the comeback though if he can in this race on the mediums, like his teammate S22 up in second, who is very much closing the gap now, down 9/10 since, or a second since he made the overtake on Entok, and he's almost got Entok out of the DRS, but with that double dosage of DRS down here, that's more damage for Scala.
Who got more damage, sorry?
Scala.
KZ picks up fastest lap, S22 takes it straight back. Scarlett, not been a good race for the Williams at all, has it? Down in 10th place. And I think you cursed Scarlett, Ryan, because of what you said pre-race.
Yep, I possibly did with what I said to you pre-race. I will take that on the chin, and he will probably complain to me a bit about it if he finds out about what was said pre-race, but so a safety car can change it for him, as S22 6/10 already this lap. Joe did retake fastest lap at the end of our last lap, a 14.6 for him, as it's a 14.8 for S22 and a 15.6 for KZ. So Joe showing good pace to try and catch up into this top 4 and possible podium battle, although he has got 10 seconds of penalties.
Yeah, 10 seconds of penalties is going to be difficult to contend with for Joe, as Entok sets fastest lap of the race there. I mean, at the moment, it's probably going to drop him down 2, maybe 3 positions for Joe at the moment, so he could end up finishing 7th. Luckily, Cooler behind him has 15 seconds of penalties, all from track limits, as Cooler, as I say that, picks up another 3-second penalty to take his total to 18. Orion picks up a 3-second penalty as well to take his total to 9. So the only two who do not have penalties at the moment are the top 2 of KZ and S22.
Yeah, and I mean, I said earlier on in this race, not qualifying, it was earlier on in the race, this Entok very nearly goes into the back of S22 there. But as I said earlier on in this race, Canada very much a track limit fest at times, so yeah, I mean, S22 and KZ Matty not taking track limit penalties yet, but it doesn't mean that they won't. As Sniper making Joe sending a wheel-to-wheel into the final corner there. Joe ended up having to back out as this... Who's that? It's Gabriel facing the wrong way out of the final corner. What has happened there? Does he have damage?
Yeah. I'm not too sure.
He hasn't got damage, or visible damage at least.
Yeah, by the way, S22 has just picked up a 3-second penalty. So the only driver now without a 3-second pen is KZ, who leaves this race currently 1.3 seconds ahead of the Williams in second place. So it's all looking good for KZ at the moment, as there is a McLaren of Cooler facing the wrong way. What on earth has happened to him? Unfortunately, we don't have replays in this game, so we can't tell you.
That's something I'd love in the next game. He's got a fair bit of front wing damage as well, so I think he'll be in the end of this lap. No, it's having something like replays, something which I'd love in the next game. Just to be able to switch back to something if someone spins. But like F1 Manager has, them kind of replays would be nice.
Yeah, definitely. I think that would be a nice addition to the F1 game for sure. I mean, whether EA would add it is another question, but you know, it would be something that fans definitely would enjoy, and people have been asking for quite a while, because it would make, you know, league race, like streaming and content creation, a lot easier. The Sniper Maker picks up another 3-second penalty. His total now up to 15. Him and Cooler having a different race here today, the race of who can pick up the most track limit penalties. Unfortunately, the king of it, Regan, is not here today, so he is not involved in that battle with those two, but he'll be back next week for it.
Yeah, talking about Regan now, whilst we're in a bit of a point of that race where there's not too many battles going on as Entox, Sniper making Joe in behind them. Having a bit of a balance. They're going to send a 3 wide into the hairpin. Oh, that was late on the brakes from Joe. Just forcing his way through there. Up past Sniper. But that's somewhere I've never really seen drivers try to go 3 wide in before. As Joe is going to go to the outside. Sniper to the inside. 3 wide down towards the final corner. There's contact between Joe and Sniper again.
Oh my god,
Jesus.
contact once again. It's all kicking off. Sniper Maker tried to make it 3 wide, which is optimistic to say the least. I personally wouldn't have gone for it, but he made it work, but not without contact. Is whether or not we stewards have to see and review some footage after that one.
Yes, certainly. As S22 has come in for the hards, down in 6th now as we'll go as now we've it looks like the battling has separated itself on track, but there's never mind. Joe is going to go around the outside off Endog up into 3rd position now. As never mind, that is just notifications from you. But I'll go back to what Regan earlier. So Regan messaged me earlier.
What are you getting from me, sorry?
Sorry, I just noticed the notifications on my phone.
Yeah.
But so Regan obviously messaged me before saying he wasn't sure if he'd be here tonight. We won't go into that too much. But he messaged, "I love Canada." Love with capital letters. So I think he loves it a bit more than he loves anything else. Regan, if you're watching, I apologise, but he said a podium could have been 110% on the cards. I'm not even joking. Didn't say joking, he said yoking. Might want to check your English there. I am just going on in English as I know against him. We went same speed and performance I had in Monza, so pretty annoying that he couldn't make it, but he said he might be able to, but then told me afterwards that he wouldn't be able to. But he seemed pretty confident about a podium, but I think he forgot about the track limits here.
Yeah, track limits are a big issue for Regan. A lot of circuits, let alone Canada. I mean, the last time he raced here, I think he got 24 seconds of pens. As, by the way, Cooler is in the pits, but was in the wall whilst trying to go into the pits. And, I mean, track limits have caught pretty much every single driver out, other than KZ so far, who leads towards lap 26 or 35, and doesn't yet have a track limit pen, the only driver on the grid to achieve that so far.
Yes, very good display from him here today, as KZ has now lapped Scarlet and Cooler, so it's not been a good race for either of them, but alternatively it's been a very good race for KZ, as I've just seen Scarlet go again. I have a feeling that he could be trying, or could be on no traction. I don't even know how much practice
He is, yes.
He didn't even know that the race was on at this time. He thought it was about 3 hours ago. So yeah, interesting. I know he has a league which runs after us, which I've watched him a few times, and he's tried getting me to come in to commentate. So perhaps I think that's one of his main leagues. So I think he's been focusing that more, which. I mean, he's a reserve, he hasn't got a full-time seat, so somewhat understandable if you're only a reserve, and I mean, there's no guarantee that you'll be racing every week if we have all the drivers show, so it's understandable.
Oh,
it's yellow flag.
Scarlet's round again.
Just as I switched off him. Typical. You know what, I won't put too much camera focus on him, otherwise he's going to spin again, but Joe now on the back of Sniper Maker, pushing to try and get 2nd place on track and see if he can pull away to try and get 2nd place after them penalties are added.
Yeah, definitely. Apologies, I didn't quite catch that. What'd you say?
I was saying Joe now putting pressure on the back of Sniper and trying to get past him and see if he can now push to try and maybe get P2 on track. Not P2 on track, sorry, P2 overall with that 10-second added, as in fact he's going to finish ahead of Sniper anyway with Sniper's penalties, as bit of contact between the two of them, But, interesting. Want to see how this race ends off.
If I was these two, I would work together. If I was one of these two, I'd try and work together. I mean, they're about 4.5 clear of Rob. They need 7 seconds, or Joe needs 7 seconds over Rob. Sniper needs 10, or not, if not more. So I think those two need to work to get up. As I say that, Joe picks up another 3-second penalty, meaning he is now on 13 seconds. So he needs a little bit more than that now. He needs probably 9 seconds to secure P2. So every time I say it, the commentator's curse comes into full effect apparently today.
Let's just not talk about penalties anymore in this race. I think we just keep manifesting them today, which is so the last thing we really want to do for the drivers. Yeah, that's been the story of this race in some ways. How every time we mention a driver, they get a penalty. But, you know, I get what you mean about they would need to work together. And I mean, it's going to be hard over the next 7 laps, but they could still try and work together to make something happen in this race. I mean, you got S22 behind them as he's going to try and make a move on Entok down into the wall of champions. He's got himself a very good exit. Entok pulls to the left-hand side, giving S22 the inside line, and he's going to tuck him behind S22. And it seems like Entok is willing to work with the Williams to catch those ahead now.
Yeah, he is pushing to catch the Williams. Entok doing a pretty good job at the moment. S22 has been really hindered in this race by at the start damage, and he of course recently pitted onto some new tyres, which he is making good use of at the moment, and he is starting to roll up on that battle between Joe and Sniper Baker. And I mean, with 7-lap newer tyres, he can definitely do something about it. And I mean, it might be a little bit optimistic, but do you reckon he could gain the 6 seconds on KZ if he can get himself past these two quickly?
I reckon he can catch up there and have a battle at the end of the race with KZ, but it'll be as well. I think he's going to get past these two now. Well, he's certainly past Joey. You'd expect him to get past Sniper now with the DRS open, as he's going to move to the outside, down on the run towards the final corners. Sniper just tucks him behind. But now I think he can in the final 6 laps. I wouldn't be surprised, as he's showing very good pace on fresh tyres now, 8 laps fresher than KZ. I think he can, but can he win the race? I think it really depends on these next 2 laps and how much he actually catches, to whether or not he can get past and clear KZ by 3 seconds.
I mean, in the first sector alone, he gained 8 tenths on KZ, and I mean, he does have to gain a lot of time. He's also got that 3-second penalty that he has to deal with, so he really needs about 7.5 seconds in order to win this race. But he's already gained over a second this lap alone. He's gained 1.2 seconds on this lap, so I mean, at that pace, it could be doable, but I think he needs a little bit more than that to make it so. Yeah,
I think pushing, I would say to be safe, you need about 1.5 a lap if you were S22 here. I can't do maths in my head right now. I woke up not long before this race, in all honesty, but a couple of drivers going to the softs to try and take that fast. No, work got closed early today because of the storm. As why do I have to listen to a voice message? Right, I'll listen to that in a moment. Okay, got some voice messages to listen to after this race. But yeah, no, S22, 3.1 second gap. It was what, about 6 seconds to have last lap? 5 seconds?
Yeah, it's coming down really quickly. I'm not sure what's going on with KZ, but his pace has just completely dissipated in comparison to S22. And I mean, S22 doesn't pick up DRS. I thought he might, but he didn't quite, unfortunately. 2.3 seconds now stands the gap. At this rate, S22 is going to be passed in a lap and a half.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering now. Scala, obviously pitting for the softs. Was that not just for fastest lap, but was that possibly for to try and give S22 the DRS?
I don't think it's quite that tactical.
S22 did get the DRS. I mean, you never know. I know the two of them are friendly with one another, and when I asked about would they be okay driving with each other tonight for Williams, they were both jumping on it pretty fast.
Why?
So you never know. As 1.1 seconds to gap, I think S22 can do it.
Sorry. I think we have a new penalty king. Cooler has 34 seconds of penalties.
You never know. Regan could come and beat. Right. Well, okay. Let's be honest. Right. We joke about Regan being the penalty king, but has he ever been disqualified for penalties?
Once, I think.
He has.
Once. I think once. The only driver I can think of doing that was Mo. At
Mo, Austria. Yeah. I remember that one. I think we've had 3 DSQ. Season 1, 2, and 3, I swear we had one in every season so far. We haven't had one this season yet.
Sorry to cut you off. S22 making his way into the race lead. So now, with 3 laps of racing to go, can he push and get the 3 seconds he needs in order to win this race? I mean, it's very doable. The gap is already 7/10. Can he do it?
I think he can. I'm gonna be honest. I think he can. As quite a few now going onto them softs for the fastest lap. So I'll pull up that as currently Cooler with a 1 minute 11.6 has the fastest lap point for Haas as Joe now into the pits, serving the 10 seconds. He will come out miles ahead of the Aston Martins. Front wing going on as well, and he's going to go for it to try and take that point for Mercedes.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a very close end. And I mean, already, by the way, at the front, S22, 2.4 seconds clear. He is on for a race win out of absolutely nowhere. Nobody expected it, but what a strategy it has been from him, and he has absolutely masterminded it to perfection.
Sorry, what was that? I was listening to something.
I was saying S22 has absolutely masterminded a win to perfection here. As by the way, can we just acknowledge Entok's going to get a podium. He's going to get 3rd place in this race.
Congratulations to Entok. It's been a while. It's season 1, I think, was his last podium. Season 1, 23 tier. I'm sure he'll correct me if I'm wrong with that, but it's been a long time. It's been a long time coming for him, but if he gets the podium, congratulations for him. One of the longest lasting.
Don't curse it.
I'm just gonna shut up then. As S22 has that 3.2 second gap now.
Yeah, S22 has got the gap he needs. Really good driving from him so far. I mean, it kind of came out of nowhere. I've got to say, I didn't really expect it. I didn't expect the 2-stop to be so strong. I don't know what you think, but it's been very, very good from him so far.
Yeah, no, I didn't really expect S22, especially with that damage. I didn't expect this race win to come, but he showed very, very good pace on this final stint. And on to the final lap now. 4.4 seconds the gap. It's going to be possibly one of the most memorable race wins here.
Yeah, apologies there, as Scarlett is round once again. Kind of becoming a feature of this race that him and Cooler both go round at some point during a lap. But Scarlett's round again. As moving to Entok, Entok is now within DRS of Sniper Maker. So Entok actually doesn't need to do anything stupid here. He just needs to stay behind and, you know, just keep it clean. But I will let you take over because S22 is going to come across the line.
So S22 for his first race win in WeRL. Only a reserve, but that doesn't matter to him because the race win is a race win. And what a race win it's been. 1 point, not even looking like a podium, but to go on and win the race. KZ Matti into second position. But now, oh, Sniper
Oh
just
my
dropped
god!
it. And then talk.
Entok didn't need to do that. As
Cool
Cool has been disqualified. We've had a DSQ. It's another one. We keep our record of having a DSQ every season, but Entok didn't need to do that. I don't know why he went for the dive. He wanted the position on track, but why did he do that? He didn't need to do that, and he's just thrown away the podium.
I will be sending him a message of disappointment after this stream. But, yes, 22 winning, KZ in second, and Rob taking a podium. Rob, who has been starting to get up around them podium places, especially after the end of last season. So, he's starting to show up to be one of the drivers which you need to watch out for when you haven't got the likes of Chenky around for a race. But Gabriel taking the fastest lap in the end, 1:11.4. But final results, so S22 wins, KZ Matti in third, Rob taking our final podium place from 9th. Then it was Entok in 4th, Sniper in 5th, Joe in 6th, Gabriel in 7th, Orion in 8th, Scholar in 9th, then HMB, Angry Ink, Hi Hello Ye, All DNFing, and Cooler keeps up the record of a disqualification every season in the league and finishes in the DSQ position. DSQ position, that's not what I meant, but yeah, that is it for this week.
Yeah, it was a very good race towards the end. I mean, the S22 charge made it far more interesting than it otherwise would have been.
Sorry, what was that? My brain just turned off.
I said the charge from S22 at the end made it way more interesting than it would have been.
Oh, definitely. But we will be back next week as we head to Australia. Well, we finished off last season, so we'll pick up in Australia next week. That was a weird hiccup burp. But until then, have a good evening and a good rest of the week. And we will see you next week when we come back for the Australian Grand Prix. Goodbye.